We need to prepare people for the demands of their sport or first responders for the demands of their jobs. Very early on, that was the big core coaching value for me is we have to meet people where they're at. My name is Miguel Wicker. I'm the Director of Sports Performance Training here at Titan. So I first came into Tulsa back in 2001. I eventually would enroll into Oral Roberts University. I started in the fall of 2003. And I came from Chicago, big city. And man, was I talk about culture shock. It was quite the change. I didn't know what I was doing. And then here I was leaving all of my roots and a place of comfort to come out to many unknowns and question marks. Sometimes when you find yourself doing things that no one else has done, it can be scary. I wanted to really set a standard. For me, a lot of how I coach and engage and how I, connect with athletes and individuals is really derived from my experiences, right? And the things that I've had to overcome. And
I had to work hard to get through school, to get through high school, to be the first in my family to graduate high school, to go to college. No one had ever done that. So for me, I was willing to fail, and you have to be willing to step out and fail, and then make the adjustment, adapt, and overcome.
I mean, the battles have always been there. Things have always been, nothing's ever been easy. But that is life. Things worthwhile are not easy. And competition is hard, and so knowing what it's like to strain and struggle and overcome, that's the neat thing about, right, like sports and really about, strength and conditioning and learning what you need to do to overcome so that you can enhance performance and so that you can set yourself up for success. You have an athlete that wants to play in JV and they want to play varsity, and so, you have to lock in on, okay, what are the controllables? Okay, I can control, right, how I'm training my body. I can control what I'm eating, how I'm nourishing myself. I can control what I'm listening to and what I'm watching, and know that all of those are, again, what you control. It has an effect on your mindset, on how you perform. You control that. If you're not dialed in on those things, then your performance is going to suffer. And so just know that when we talk about performance training, it encompasses all of these aspects that we're discussing today. And so
when you're here, I need you locked in, and we're here on purpose. We're being intentional, and I like to say we're training with intent.
When we look at athletes from, regardless of sport, we always have to acknowledge, okay, what are the demands of the sport? What are the energy systems, being used, that physiological, right, demand on the body. And strength and performance, we have a good grasp on, right, like, hey, here's how we can improve physical qualities that affect sport performance. If we find that people are not responding, our athletes are not responding to the training that we're doing, then it's on us to make those modifications. And so there's a healthy balance between what's been done in the trenches and what we know works, and then keeping an ear to the ground and seeing what are those new developments. But this is a team of lifelong learners, and so if we know that something is working, then we want to not reinvent the wheel, we want to turn the wheel really well. And then being ready to adapt, because that just because you see something in a study doesn't mean that can be just applied to any group of athletes you work with. There's certainly quite a bit to account for. The sharp difference right away is when you're in a team setting, and in my case, in a public school setting, and you're working with a team of 30, 40, 50, you have so many personalities. There's athletes of varying skill and training experience or lack thereof, right? And then of course you have sport coaches, and so it's navigating, right, the interactions with sport coaches, and communicating and educating them, because there's so much misinformation. Everyone has ideas about what should and shouldn't be done. And then you have these kids, and one of the things that I learned early on, you realize that not everyone wants to be treated the same. And so there is quite a bit of work in the team setting to build trust, which takes time, getting that buy-in and knowing that you have different personalities. You have some athletes that want you to call them out in front of people. We have others that don't. And so if you think you can get away with treating everyone the same, you're mistaken. You have to find out, like, okay, what are the drives of the athletes that I'm working with? And so one of the things that, we do here, you got to keep a log, if you will, of information, of just documenting and outlining various aspects of the athletes that you work with, so that we're building those relationships and we understand and how to speak to them to get the response that you need. That's the necessary work that is required on the part of the coach, and it made a huge difference in getting athletes to buy in and really trust in the process, right? The training plan, because guess what? It doesn't matter how good your spreadsheets are, how fancy your writing is, what you have on the whiteboard. If those athletes don't trust you and they're not buying into what you're selling, yes, you are selling, then the effectiveness of your program, there is none.
When I think about the resources we have here, we think about this facility, we want to help, again, athletes accomplish their goals. For me, in my mind, that means that any athlete I work with, I want them to be the most resilient athlete possible. That means injury prevention. That means, that we're going to do everything, again, we're going to be intentional. We're going to do everything possible to help them improve their performance on the court or the field.
It's an exciting part of what we're doing here at Titan, and it's a part of the job here that we're gonna tell you, we're gonna show you. So the coaches are gonna demo everything for you. They're gonna tell you clearly what the expectations are, and they're gonna be ready to demonstrate what we're requiring of our athletes to do. So it's really exciting. This is one of the big visions that I have for the Performance Training Center here at Titan. This is not only going to be a place where athletes come to reach their performance goals and to get stronger and faster, but this is going to be a place for coaches to come and learn, right? And how to coach and how to engage and how to navigate social interactions. And so, coaches coming and learning, growing, and being prepared to step into this strength and performance space and hold their own. Again, we are laying the bricks and creating that foundation and the culture here that we're going to use simple tools that yield complex results. We're going to be intentional about what we're doing so that we have the outcomes that our athletes need and desire. Everything we do is going to be geared toward increasing performance on the court or field. And I like to call that keeping the goal the goal. And just know that when you come here into Titan, we're meeting you where you're at. You're going to have a professional staff to guide you, to coach you as a person and not a robot, and to do everything with intent so that you can be the best next version of yourself.